Whoa, oh, 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 whoa, oh, 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 whoa, oh, 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 oh. Hello, and welcome back to Blog Readings with Stephanie. I'm so excited to have you here. I write weekly blog posts for my website, soulsticeliving.com, and I read them to you. And so today we're just going to dive right in, but we are discussing the negative effects of clutter, vital information for all of us. So sit back, relax, and let's get this reading started. The negative effects of clutter. In this digital age of limitless information at our fingertips, we're constantly surrounded by magazine style imagery that sparks a desire for a beautifully organized home. While we can't all achieve Pinterest worthy perfection, we do tend to see these dreamy spaces and think, I want that. It's important to have realistic expectations, but did you know that your desire for a clutter free space is rooted in science? Keep reading or listening to discover the negative effects of clutter and what you can do to prevent it from happening. Our lives are busier and more cluttered than ever, and clutter is taking a toll. On a daily basis, we may think our extra stuff is just an annoyance, but on a larger scale, the negative effects of clutter are increasing our stress and anxiety, creating unhealthy habits, and limiting our potential. When it comes to clutter and its impacts, it's not one size fits all. Some people need every single surface clear in order to think, while others may work better with a little bit of stuff around them. Either way, studies show that if you feel cluttered, the effects of clutter on the mind and body definitely show up in your physical and mental well being. Types of clutter and their effects. When we discuss clutter, we often describe physical clutter around us. Too many kitchen appliances, the clothing we never wear, stepping on Legos in your kid's playroom, ouch, or overflowing garages are all examples. However, we often forget about mental clutter, which seems to be on the rise. Information overload is a real thing, especially now with the rise of social media, weekly Zoom meetings, binging TV shows, and distance learning. While our trusty devices save us in many ways, the daily influx of information overwhelms us. With full schedules, long to do lists, and poor time management, our minds have become as cluttered as our homes. The negative effects of clutter, both physical and mental, impact our daily lives. Effects of clutter on the mind and body. When our minds feel overloaded and stressed, clutter affects our physical and mental health. Let's take a look at the negative effects of clutter and the complications it creates in your life. And then we'll discuss what you can do to solve these problems. Distraction caused by clutter. When we're surrounded by disorder, our minds struggle to focus. This is especially true when we're using the internet and find ourselves down that rabbit hole of information. But it happens in our physical space too. You might be organizing one area, pick up an item to put elsewhere, and soon find yourself doing a completely different task. Who's done that? Raise your hand. The effects of clutter on focus is real. Lowered productivity from clutter. When distraction grows, focus disappears. And when focus disappears, productivity decreases. Do you find yourself with multiple projects going at once? Or do you ever feel like you start so many tasks but never cross them off your to do list? This is a common symptom of distraction and clutter. The negative effects of clutter directly reduce your productivity output. Clutter, stress, and anxiety. Countless studies show that individuals who identify clutter as a stressor experience increased levels of cortisol, a stress hormone that impacts metabolism and immune response. Women, especially who consider their homes disorganized, report even higher cortisol levels, which increases overall stress. Higher cortisol levels link directly to weight gain, slow healing, high blood pressure, and other negative health outcomes. These findings show how strong the connection is between clutter and stress. Effects of clutter on your immune system. When clutter raises stress, the body struggles to fight off infection. High cortisol levels stay in the body, and the body adapts by increasing inflammation. Bottom line, clutter causes stress, and stress weakens the immune system. Clutter and unhealthy eating habits. Clutter often leads to excess snacking on unhealthy foods. Stress and distraction make it harder to choose healthy options. Instead, eliminate clutter so you can enjoy these treats with intention and reduce the negative effects of clutter on your health. So, solutions to the clutter. Don't fret. I know this all sounds overwhelming, but there is a solution if you feel like you're living in clutter chaos. I work with people all the time who feel better after learning organizational skills, and you can too. Start small. Main key. Maybe you clean out one drawer in the kitchen or the surface of your desk. Once you see progress, you can build momentum to tackle larger projects. Keep it simple. Don't overthink things. Just start placing hands on every item, work through it, keep or get rid of. That's it. Super simple. Stay focused. It's easy to get distracted, but that will derail your progress. So stay on task. Set a timer if you need it. Complete the timer. If you feel you can keep going, keep going. Consistency. Like any good habit, it's all about maintaining consistent practice. Once you get going, do not stop. And the great thing about organizing, I feel like it's addictive. So once you organize one space and you see how the system works and you love it so much, you'll go to the next space because you want that peace in your life. You want to invite in that calm. So love consistency. And then the final one is a place for everything. This is a cliche for a reason. If you designate a space for something, then you have somewhere to put it after you're finished using it. And so the key to organizing any space is assigning a home to every item, period. Once you do that in your house, your stress levels will go out the door, around your clutter at least. If you want to know more, check out my tips for 4 basic steps to organize any space, link down below. And if you're still struggling, contact me to discuss your solution. I would love to help you conquer your clutter and avoid negative effects of clutter in your home and your life. Stephanie. So, what do you think? Do you feel like you are the recipient of negative effects of clutter? Is it increasing your stress levels, your cortisol levels? Do you find that you're eating more? Do you think that your tasks are not as efficient as they could be because you are jumping around and trying to finish a million different ones? I found it interesting, maybe, I don't even know, sometime in the last 7 years. I read an article where they came out with multitasking is actually more inefficient than finishing one task and then moving on to the next. And I know that when I was raised, the way that we were raised, you want to multitask. Like it's a skill that you can multitask and do multiple projects at once and be jumping from one to the next, to the next, to the next. But in reality, it takes more focus from your brain and it confuses your brain and stresses you out. And so the key is always just to start one project, finish one project, start the next project, finish the next project. And I do have to say, on a personal level, we're just going to keep going. I made a goal list, and this was 2 years ago, of everything I wanted to do from writing my book, which is done, ABCs of Home Organization. Check that off to finishing another book that I haven't done yet, that I wrote as a short story for my aunt. And she was like, "You should turn this into a novel." And so I've been working on it for the last 5 years. But regardless, to finishing a course with my friend, which we did check. And then there was like 5 other things on the list. And so I was doing, okay, every Tuesday, I'm going to write for my book. Every Wednesday, I'm going to work on that project. And I assigned each day. And so, like, if I had free time that day, I spent it on the project. I was so stressed. I was so burned out. It took no time at all for me to be like, I can't do this. I cannot continue. I am overwhelmed. And so at that point, I made the list and I started with one, and that was my book. And I crossed it off my list. And then I went to the course and I crossed it off my list. And then the other ones were taking different courses and such, and then creating some journals and things on Amazon. And just one at a time, I crossed them off. And I didn't put a timeline on it. I didn't care if the book took me 6 months, a year, or one day. That was my next task, and that was what I was focused on. The rest of it, that's fine. And granted, there's not a timeline, right? That was more creative things and or learning. And so there's not typically a timeline. The course I had wasn't a deadline involved. And so I could put that off for as long as I wanted. You do have to check your own. My brain is so tired. What are we doing? You do have to check your own list to see if there are any deadlines or timelines that you have to adhere to, but just give yourself a break. And so when you're organizing one room, where's the room that causes you the most stress? Is it your closet? Is it your bathroom? Is it your kitchen? The garage, if you never go in there, don't worry about it. That's going to be the last on the list. What about the kids' room, the playroom? Does that stress them out? Can you see the stress in their lives because their playroom is not as neat and orderly as they would like and you would like. Maybe you start there. And so just pick one spot and it'll take you as long as it takes you. That's it. That's all I got. So, negative effects of clutter, blog readings with Stephanie. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you continue to listen back and find what we're next talking about. And that's all I have for you. So, happy day. Hope you had a wonderful holidays. Mwah. Thanks.